Another question?
Yes, this is Bilal from ETSA with Students for Liberty.
Where are you? I can't see. Oh,
sorry. So I have a question that has maybe 3 parts. The first question is, I came by your booth earlier and I saw that you're for a military action against Iranian regime.
yes.
And awarding to the Saudis or a potential military operation. So my question from you is that how do you decide who becomes to be the judge in situations like this where you go in, you topple regimes and you pretty much install a new government, and also how do you justify that the umbrella of liberty, the whole liberty movement, because collateral damage is guaranteed with full-scale military operations. For example, Libya, Iraq, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Yemen, Somalia, thousands. In fact, more than 1 million people have been killed since 2001. So, how do you justify that? Or what's your approach? How are you dealing with this?
Okay, excellent question. So the question is, under the kind of government that individual rights give rise to, so the kind of government that I advocate, pure laissez-faire capitalism. Who makes the decision about when, where, and why military action will be taken? Is that a fair summation? And then also, because there can be collateral damage, if we, for instance, as I would advocate and have in writing, that we take out the Iranian regime because they're the fundamental threat on the planet to us today, as I argue in various articles I've written. How do I justify doing that, and how do I justify the collateral damage? Because obviously, children and innocents may die in the process of an attack like that. And I justify these kinds of ideas on an egoistic foreign policy. So egoism being the fundamental principle that gives rise to rights and to the proper government and to the purpose of government, which is to protect rights, gives rise to a foreign policy that says the government of a given society should do one thing and one thing only, protect rights. And for foreign policy purposes, that means that we should pay attention to any foreign agencies who are trying to attack us, whether directly or indirectly. And we should identify the most fundamental threats at any given time and eliminate them. Why? Because we have a right to live, for all the reasons that I just mentioned. We have a right to our life, liberty, property, and pursuit of happiness. So we form a government to protect those rights. And one of the things that government does is protect us from foreign aggression. Foreign aggression is deadly and it's wrong. So we have a moral right to defend ourselves against it. If, as is happening today, the Iranian regime, not the Iranian people, mind you, because there are a lot of people in Iran, I think, a lot of people in Iran who want freedom, who want a Western-style sort of free republic. And they're not as crystal clear on those ideas as I wish they were, but there are people there who want that. I'm not for, annihilating everyone in Iran. I am for annihilating the regime and anything that helps the regime stay in existence. And the reason I'm for that, and I'll get to collateral damage in a minute, the reason I'm for that is because they have attacked us, and they have advocated attacking us, and they continue to do these things on a regular basis. And let me finish answering the questions you've asked, and then I'll probably take some other questions, but we can talk afterward if you have more. Because you've asked a very rich question.
They attacked us. Where exactly?
They've attacked us by advocating, first of all, for years, by advocating to Muslims in general that they attack both the great Satan and the little Satan, meaning America and Israel. And for a state to do that is an act of war, to advocate that. They have also killed American soldiers in both Iraq and Afghanistan and other places. So there's lots of evidence. I don't want to get into a back and forth about whether or not this is true. I document some of this stuff in my article that you saw the cover of, like the Saudi and Iranian regimes must go. So I would suggest turning there for some of the concretes that I might offer. But I want to answer the issue of collateral damage, because it is true that when you attack a regime, you sometimes might kill innocents. And whether the adults in a certain, around a certain regime are innocent is debatable. But certainly a 5-year-old child that gets killed in an act like that has been killed and his rights have been violated. But here's the thing. When we bombed Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and innocents died, and some did, because children are innocent, who murdered those kids? The imperialist Japanese murdered those kids. You have to make a distinction between murder and killing in this case. The aggressor who necessitates retaliatory force is responsible for all of the deaths involved in that retaliatory force. And this is a matter of the law of causality. He who causes and necessitates, in this case, retaliatory force, is responsible for the deaths caused thereby. And I've written on this too. This is a lot to get out quickly, but you asked a question that unfortunately I have very short time to answer, so I just want to get out my quick answer to this and we'll move on. And I can talk to you more about this afterward. But the fact is, although our bombs killed innocents in those instances, and we also killed a lot of non-innocents, by the way, because anybody who was supporting the Japanese imperialists were not innocent, they were agents of the enemy. But the 5-year-olds were innocent, and when they died, it's very unfortunate. But we didn't necessitate their deaths. The Japanese imperialists did. And so you have to make that distinction. It's a causal distinction. Another question?
We're out of time, unfortunately, but Mr. Biddle will be here throughout the day to answer your questions and at the social. So I encourage you to speak with him more afterwards. And we'll take another 15-minute break and get ready for another provocative talk by Isaac Morehouse.
Thank you all.